Let's talk some Virginia basketball. Chris Graham here with you. Virginia, after a 2-0 week last week, remains at number 3 in the national polls, both the AP top 25, the coaches top 25. North Carolina, the big news of rankings today, Monday, number 1 just a week ago, right? 4-game losing streak, and they're out. Carolina had been playing with fire a lot early this season, now at 5-4. And, the last couple of losses, the Indiana loss, they played with an injured Armando Bacot, and then he didn't even play in the loss at Virginia Tech Sunday night. But that said, 4 straight losses, 5-4 record. Carolina is out just a week after being the number 1. And, of course, they've been number 1 since the preseason after last year's surprise run to the NCAA tournament title game. Virginia, meanwhile, 7-0, won at Michigan by 2 points last Tuesday, and then a bit banged up from that game. Reese Beekman playing with the after effects of a sprained ankle. Some players maybe feeling a little under the weather as well. Nonetheless, Virginia sucked it up, beat Florida State 62-57 on Saturday. So a 2-0 week, maybe not the most impressive 2-0 week, but you don't have to be the best team in the country every day. You just have to be the best team in the arena. And Virginia has one game this week. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. It's tomorrow night against James Madison at home. A matchup after the exam break then looms. Virginia, after tomorrow's game, tomorrow's the last day of classes at the University of Virginia for the fall semester. Then it's study time, then exams starting. I think they start Saturday, but that at least back in my day they started on Saturday. But they certainly the next several days will be exam time. Number 1 Houston is the game coming out of the break. That's on December 17th. Houston 8-0 this season, so that could be a really interesting one, to say the least. Staying number 2 in the polls, Texas, after defeating number 7 Creighton last week, stays number 2. Purdue also won a tight game with Florida State last week. It's interesting. Florida State's 1-9. They played 2 top 5 teams and played them well. Purdue remains number 4. And UConn, a team that played Virginia in one of those not so secret scrimmages before the season and played a close game. Virginia, I think, won that one, according to all accounts, by 6. In JVJ, but we don't know that officially. Anyway, UConn 9-0 jumped 3 spots to number 5. So Duke is the only other ACC team in the poll at number 15. Stunning fall from grace for UNC. Virginia Tech got some votes. Virginia Tech actually got more votes, quite a few more votes, with their 8-1 record than the preseason number 1 UNC. So the basketball preview tomorrow night, JMU coming to town. JMU, I think UVA fans would say, JMU's coming great. It's an easy win for Virginia. I look at the Vegas has Virginia by 12. And it's a home game for Virginia. ESPN BPI has Virginia by 8.3 points. Bart Torvik, the metrics website, Virginia is a 10-point favorite. KenPom, a 14-point favorite. On paper, hey, it's going to be an interesting game. JMU is ranked 80th in KenPom.com. That's the one I refer to at least this week for my inside the numbers kind of stuff. 7-2 on the season, a loss to the aforementioned North Carolina back when Carolina was still number 1, 80-64. JMU was down by 19 at halftime. Actually made it a single-digit game a couple times in the second half before Carolina pulled back away. The other loss is a pretty inexplicable one, 81-79 to a Valparaiso team that is ranked 279th in KenPom.com, just 3-6 on the season, a 4-point win over Incarnate Word. So, JMU, though, when you look at, the projections, the way things are going right now, they're projected to win the Sun Belt. And that would, assuming they could win the tournament, they would be in the NCAA tournament. And based on where they're ranked right now in the KenPom.com metrics, they'd be either a 12 or a 13 seed. Of course, that number will probably go down because the way things work when you play other teams of similar and lower power rankings, your number will slide down. They'll be at 30, they'll be 12 or 13 when if and when they win their conference tournament. They can play, interestingly with teams like UNC, but they can also lose to Valpo. That's where JMU is right now. They also have already played of their 9 games. 2 of them are non-Division I games. They have a win over a Division III team and a win over an NAIA team. That's interesting. And so that's where you take into account, maybe with a grain of salt, they're leading the nation in scoring. Hey, that's something. 93.3 points a game. And they shoot 52.7% from the field, 42.2% from three. And you'll hear some numbers in a second that are interesting. But again, they've played a really interesting schedule. They played Carolina, but they've also played a bunch of stiffs. In that Carolina game, I think it was because they've played one top. In fact, it's the only top 100 team they've played to this point. Thought it was good to do a sort of dive into that Carolina game. JMU shot 34.8% in that game, and they were just 7 of 27 from three. Carolina's not, at this stage in the season at least, not one of your better teams defensively in the country. They may improve to be that, but they haven't been that way to this point. JMU coach Mark Byington took over the program in 2021. Had a nice run at Georgia Southern. He went to the 2019 NCAA tournament there, and this rotation he has is deep. He actually, he wants to play up tempo. He goes 9 deep with his rotation. 9 guys, all averaging double digits in minutes. A couple names familiar from last year, at least. Takal Molson actually hit the game-winning shot, and then the shot that gave JMU some distance in the 52-49 win over Virginia last year in Harrisonburg. He's back leading the team in scoring 12.6 points a game. 6'6" Terrence Edwards, 12.3 points a game. Some video game-like numbers, 64.6% from the field, 66.7% from three. Not a huge volume from three, but still, he hits them. The 6'0" point guard, Vado Morse, 12 points a game. And Mezi Offerum, the center, 6'8" center, 11 points, 5.7 rebounds, 67.8% from the field. So doesn't shoot a lot, but he's very efficient when he does. The rest of the rotation, you got there's a few more guys who put some points on the board. Noah Friedel, 9.8 points a game. Not great shooting numbers, but volume. 6'8" backup center Julian Wooden, 9.4 points a game, 58.2% from the field, 58.3% from three. Low volume, but he can hit them. So you got to watch him on the outside. 6'7" power forward Alonzo Sewell, 8.2 points a game, 56.3% field goal. Justin Amati, the 6'7" forward, another power forward, 7.4 points a game, 73% field goal. When these guys, the inside guys, at least against the opposition they've had, they finish around the rim. And then the backup point guard, a freshman, Xavier Brown, 6'2" point guard, 4.4 points a game, 64% field goal, 50% from three. These guys can hit shots if you leave them open. That's the thing. Looking a little bit more at that JMU game, 4 guys in double figures on offense for JMU in that one. Molson had 19 points, 7 of 16 field goals. Offerum had 12 points, 8 rebounds. He was 5 of 6 from the field in that game. It says a lot about what he can do inside. Wooden had 11 points. He was 4 of 7 from the field. And Morse had 10 points, but he had 17 shots, only made 3, and 2 of 8 from 3. Like this number from JMU, 9 turnovers on 75 possessions. That's kind of says something there. Last year, Virginia fans will remember last year. Virginia fans who paid close attention will remember last year. Virginia led that game 10-2 at the second media timeout, 10-2, 8 minutes into the game, but would only score 4 points the rest of the first half. JMU closed on a 22-4 run. It was 24-14 at halftime. The Dukes led by as many as 13 early in the second half. Virginia actually then rallied to take the lead a couple times in the last 3 minutes. The last time Armand Franklin hit a jumper with 1:27 to go, put Virginia back on top, but a pair of buckets by Molson accounted for the final difference. Before that closing sequence, JMU fans serenaded UVA coach Tony Bennett with an "F-U Tony" chant. They didn't just say F, though. They said the whole word. I would say it here. I don't mind saying it in real life, but I'm not going to offend you here. F-U Tony. And you got to know. I mean, Tony was asked to address it in the post game, and he did. And we know Tony. He's not the vengeful type, but if he were, this would be one that he might want to see a little bit going there for him. So this JMU team likes to play up tempo. Virginia does not. Last year, the game was played obviously at Virginia's pace with that final score, and we could expect the same to be the case this year. The game tips off tomorrow night at 8:00. Check out AugustaFreePress.com for all the post game tomorrow night and then into Wednesday, since it's a late tip tomorrow night. But hey, this is the breakdown for you, and consider yourselves, I guess, prepped and ready to go for UVA JMU tomorrow night. Then it's a long break between tomorrow night and the 17th, as Virginia gets ready to play, at least for now, number 1 Houston. If you have anything for me to address, any questions, any comments, any criticisms, you just want to say hi, send me an email at chris@AugustaFreePress.com.